Go live? Yep. Good morning. Good morning. Last night, late, I did a video in answering some of Anne Toomey's in live video. No, it's working. In answer to some of Anne Toomey's statements on YouTube, which she sneaks away to, changed the office around so I couldn't refer to books she had in the bookshelf that she referred to last time. But don't worry about all that. She made some statements which are nonsense. You pay rates to pay for services provided, okay? According to her. This is her version. So, why is it calculated against the gross rental value of your property? Why do you then, some houses, like, for instance, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house on a block, sits next to a brand new brick house sitting on a block the same size next door. So the gross rental value of the brand new house is more than the one, it's an old house. Simple. So why is it different? Why should they pay more? Because they built a new house? They've got to pay more off it. The other ones are paid for, are they? What really are you trying to tell us, Anne Toomey? That somehow that is a legitimate way to raise funds to pay for services provided? Interesting. Very, very interesting. That it's an absolute load of nonsense. When they set up a housing estate and the developers pay for everything, roads, footpaths, provision of water, telecommunications, the whole lot, all built in. Then they pay the council so much per block. Fact. This is all fact from the councils themselves. They'll tell you that. So obviously you either don't know or you're not telling the truth. I don't think you're telling the truth. I think you are not a stupid person. You're an intelligent person. So you do know what I'm talking about. So it's all paid for. And you've got a large sum of money for each block, and you do. And along comes Joe Blow and buys that block of land and builds his house. And he pays for all of those services provided. All of them. Except rubbish. Everything else he pays for. Pays for electricity, pays for the water, pays for the telephone, pays for everything that's going into his house. Isn't that nice? And then you come along and straight away want rates to pay for the services provided, but you didn't provide them. The developer did. And the person who purchased the land paid for them. Fact. That's all fact. It's different slightly on an older block, but, all right, the federal parliament gives grants to the councils outside of the referendum in 1974 for a lot of things. Disposal of rubbish, collection of rubbish, provision of money for roads. And let's bring that up, because that's a serious issue that you put into yours. They provide roads. No, they don't. Councils don't provide roads. They should, but they don't. They repair roads, yes. Get that. Who owns the roads? We do, because we bought the blocks of land. When we buy a block of land, we buy right to the middle of the road, everything encased in there, and the provision of all the services. We pay for it. From the front gate to the middle of the road is supposedly given access to the councils to provide the services, which is what you're trying to say. Fine. If they did. Well, if the money went for provision of services, why is there a local government association in each state? And another group of people who are advisories to the local government in each state? Not government, not a government body. Nothing to do with the government. They advise the minister, apparently. Well, we're not going to go into the minister because he's not lawful anyway. Because there's no executive parliaments, there's no ministers, they're chosen by the government, not by the parliament. There's not a cabinet, so just put all that rubbish away. That's another one of the lies purported and pushed around by professors, smart alecks. Now, the truth of the matter is, we pay a tax on our driver's licence. It's a licence fee. Pay for roads. We pay a tax on our car licence. Pay for roads. If you own a truck and it's over 3 tonne tear weight, you've got to pay tax to the federal government. You've got to pay massive licences. Some of the road trains paying $10,000-$15,000 a year to run their road trains on the roads. Oh, they use the roads, why shouldn't they pay it? What about the tax on fuel? The trillions of dollars, not billions, trillions, that are paid in fuel tax every year to pay for roads. Isn't that marvellous? So what you're saying, we pay for roads through our driver's licence, we pay for roads through our car licence, we pay for roads through state taxation, which is excessive and massive. Then we pay for it with fuel. And then along comes the council and we pay for it for that. And the council in turn donates money to this association. But it doesn't stop there. And the group that's running it, it's got to be substantial, because not only does it pay them, it pays the Australian Local Government Association. So tell us really, honestly, what it's all about. It's about, one, taking control of our land, because you've gifted Crown land which does not belong to you, any of the parliaments or the government. It's under the direct control of the governors of the states. Read the Constitution 1, 2 and 3 and weep. Did the states exist before Federation? No, they didn't. That was in Glew versus the Granite Shire, which you so immediately put up as some kind of an idea that the court ruled. It wasn't a court. The courts are gathering under the sovereign. HCA 29 of 2009, at paragraph 21 or something like that, I think it is. The court is a gathering under the sovereign. There's no sovereign anymore, especially not in Western Australia. They took it out with the Oaths, Affidavits and Statutory Declarations Act. They removed the Oath of Allegiance from the state constitution, but it wasn't even the lawful one anyway. It was the one I showed you last night, a piece of junk with 32 sections missing. That was in the decision Glew versus the Granite Shire. That's why I said it was a lie, and I referred you to HCA 48 in 1996. Are you going to do something about that? And to me, no, you're going to keep the total government rhetoric that you keep pushing. And one of the videos I did when I referred to you was from the Whyalla Shire, which is the same dribble that came from a shire in the Gold Coast in Queensland. Same lies. And you're trying to put over that local government existed, and as I explained, local government before Federation and after was the Parliament of the colonies, who were all individual, answering straight to England prior to Federation. Did they have local government? No. Did they have shires? Yes. As a government department. Did they? Yes. They actually were roads boards or municipal authorities, municipal councils, in actual fact. How do I know that? My father worked for them. Contract. So, you see, I had a vast insight into the system, how it worked. My father was paid out of consolidated revenue. Wasn't from tax, wasn't from the councils. They had nothing to do with it, except in a volunteer status to run the districts. Midland Junction Municipal Authority, that was one that I knew a lot about. They were all volunteers. The mayor, volunteer. All the councillors, volunteers. They only changed here a few years ago and they started paying them. Why? Because everybody wanted to be paid. to do something they volunteered to do, which was nothing anyway. Because once you got a CEO and a couple of other clowns under them, you did nothing, totally ignored the public. No matter what we said, you did the opposite. The government in this country is there to serve the people. Because the supreme, absolute and uncontrollable authority remains with us. You can't change that. Your version of the annotated Constitution is not the Constitution. Yes, it is. It's got the Constitution in it. Commonwealth Constitution Act, 1900 UK, which is the act that enables us to have a constitution. Then it goes to each individual part of that constitution and paragraph by paragraph by paragraph explains what it means by the people who wrote it. Your initial one was, it's only a book written by two men. That's your attitude. Well, your books are only a piece of garbage book written by one woman. Can't prove anything that's in there. I can't be bothered reading it because given what you've been saying, I've had a guts full of what you've been doing. That's why I took up and started fighting it. Why? Because I could. Why? Because I got the guts to do it. You don't scare me. You don't worry me. To me, you're a puppet for the government, putting forward garbage and lies. If land transfers from the Crown through the governor, which it does, you're issued a title. A title is a document of ownership. It alienates your land from the Crown. Who's the Crown? God in British law. The monarch guarantees and grants it through her representative being the governor of the states. Is it any other way? No. Then Trent Selway, I will answer you, mate. So the family home is paid for. My father leaves me the family home in the will and straight away somehow I inherit two contracts and debts which make no sense. How can the council hold me to impunity, a debt and contract? They can't. They stole your land through purported legislation by a parliament that doesn't even exist. As I explained last night, Western Australia never put its constitution in place. I showed you the correct one. I've got it. Has not got a system of local government like you're talking about in it. That's the electoral boundaries. You didn't think people would pick up on it. You thought people would just carry on doing their thing and accept everything you say. No, that's a lie. And you know it is. You tried to say the Parliament is supreme. The Constitution, ours, the red one, which contains Commonwealth Constitution Act, and the Commonwealth Constitution derived from it, says the Parliament's not supreme. It says it's not sovereign either. Neither the state or federal. But as each state removed its constitution, replaced it, it failed then to continue to comply with 106 of the Constitution. Any statement outside that is a maggoted lie. It's blatant treason. You're overturning our Constitution. That's what you think. There is no plenary power granted to any parliament, especially not to the federal one, except in the area of legislative authority granted by us through our Constitution. You can't comprehend that? Go back to school. Go back to school where you should be studying the law, not statutes and garbage from political parties, which is who you work for, who you promote. 62 to 68 states how the Parliament, how the governors, because they continue subject to the Commonwealth Constitution. Subject to means in every single thing. So if you do pass a law and it's not in the Commonwealth one, then it doesn't exist. If there's no authority. 107, 108 and 109 create the states. They did not exist before Federation, which is what Wheeler, Paul and Butt put in their decision. In direct contravention of HCA 48 of 1996. Blatant, total and criminal contempt for the High Court and its finding, which state they didn't exist. It stated how the 106, 107, 108 and 109 created the states, all subject to our Constitution. Our Constitution and the Commonwealth Constitution Act is indissoluble, so the peanut who came on there and said, oh, when the Queen dies, or the Queen did this, the Queen did that in 1700, well, sorry, the Queen Elizabeth wasn't that old, nor was Queen Victoria, so you lied. We deleted you because that's appropriate to do that. You get sick of talking to morons. Now, these politicians have just taken another pay rise while the rest of us are doing it tough. Yes, so the thing is, David Anthony, the politicians are being paid when they're not even in the parliament. Read chapter 1, 2 and 3. If they go to, when they're called to the parliament, from then until they return home, they're paid. Then they're not, because they're not employed the way they are. But that's a different issue. I'm not talking about that. What I'm sticking to is local government. Local government after federation was the state parliaments. That's the 8th line down on page 936. See, look at that. I remembered it. Why didn't you? You read from it, I saw, when you held up the book. Oh, there it is there. Yeah, it is. Why are you referring to that book when that book has no value, according to you? Why are you stating the things you state? The thing is, 1988, we said no to the continuance and no to the establishment. No means that. 128 is an application by the parliaments, state to federal, and then federal to the people, state by state, to get a result that they want. When the people say no, we've denied it. So if you have a system of local government, and it's not in the Constitution, and it's not, you wanted to add it by adding 119A, and we said, no, you're not having it. No means you've got to stop dead there. Was there another referendum? Yes, the 1999 referendum promoted COAG, Commonwealth Organisation of Australian Governments. That's the third referendum in relation to local government, and to me, in case you couldn't work that out. What did we say? No, you can't have that either. You're not going to change our system. We're going to retain the Crown and the system. Now, go back to the letters patents issued by Queen Victoria. People say, oh, when she died, they went. No, they didn't. Go to 1920, February. George V put all the letters patents back in place, made sure they were all secure and locked in there, and issued a proclamation. And it's gazetted in Australia. I showed it before in a thing, so it's there. It happened. Why are you continually misleading and deceiving the people into believing somehow the Parliament can do what it likes? No, the Parliament can't. That's why the Australia Act, even at paragraph 5, says Commonwealth Constitution Act, Commonwealth Constitution and Statute Westminster not affected by this Act because you can't touch it. That creates an oxymoron. Here we've got an Act which creates an absolute different system consistent with Australia becoming an independent sovereign nation, and then it doesn't do it because the own Act says it doesn't. Oxymoron? Totally stupid. Until what we have before the High Court, and they're going to do something about it, or the people will rise up and get rid of garbage like you. Send you back somewhere else. Find somewhere to put you. I suggested Macquarie Island, who freeze to death with the rest of the lying traders who steal our stuff. Now, I'm reading some of the stuff, and it makes you laugh, some of the garbage. The problem you have when you step into a public office of any kind, the reason one William and Mary was prepared, so you swear an oath of allegiance to the Crown, so that you serve the people in the position you're taking up. And you're not doing that, Anthony. You can say you are, but you're not. You can say this, that, and the other. It's all lies. You see, there's no woke people. There's people who are daily waking up to the fact that this country is run by lying, thieving traitors. They're being educated by lying, thieving traitors. If you make a statement and you claim to be an authority in law, and that statement's wrong, if you haven't checked it, you're a liar. If it turns out it's wrong, you're lying. Is that correct? Yes, it is. You've a duty to make sure what you teach is correct. You don't want to. Oh, you've got a green constitution. That wasn't around at Federation. It's authorised by Quick and Garron and been dead for 50 years or more. And it's printed in China. Don't you think if China didn't like us, and they don't particularly like us, they want to take this country, believe me. They've been trying for years. And idiot politicians can't see that. Doesn't matter. Not yet, but it will. Can't you see that if they get the chance to get hold of our constitution, they won't have some brilliant minds, because they've got plenty, poring over it, seeing how they could change a letter here, a little word there, and change the meaning. Can't you see that? No, because you're blinded by your own importance. You see, I don't step up to that importance. I am me. I'm not here for accolades. If everything stopped and went back to normal, I'd walk away, go disappear and have a good life, because I'm not. Are you going to answer these questions and to me, or are you going to go on YouTube and blab another load of nonsense? If you do, I'll come back and get in your face. Why? Because I can. Try to get me banned, I'll find another source. One way or the other, I will get there and teach you what the law is, because you're not listening. The people have the right. The people are intelligent enough, because our framers put it together so that we could know the truth of how our country runs. We are sovereign, absolutely. We are supreme, absolutely. And you're there to serve us, if you can't figure that. And as for paying council rates to provide services, that's a lie. Van Stein, he stood out the front of the Shire and said, we provide all these services. No, you don't. No, you don't. You get a heap of money. You paid a ridiculous sum of money, you were, till the people did the right thing and said, goodbye, clown, we don't want you anymore, and that's it. The CEO, you people, I won in the court. You said that I didn't, but I did. The magistrate said, I cannot give you an order to remove his property from his land, being all the stuff I had there, including an F-250, about 1/3 built. I cannot give you an order in relation to the land. He said it. Because I don't have the authority. He said it. There was no trial by jury. That's his first problem, and he realised it. His second problem was the Supreme Court Act says only a justice of the Supreme Court can sign away a title of property. You changed it? No, you didn't. Every single state had a Transfer of Land Act prior to Federation. Did it cross over into Federation? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. For the reasons I said to you last night. Section 51, subsection 38 says there was only 7 legislative areas ever exercisable by the Australasian Council, and even less by the colonies, and all 7 are contained in 51 of this Constitution. Whereas any government control over land, there's none. Over titles, there's none. You can have a department that keeps a record of who actually owns the land. I got no problem with that. But we have to voluntarily give it to you. You can't just say you're going to do it. If you pass a law considering good governance, that would then allow you to have that law to require us, or a settlement agent, because you sell the land from you, we do, from us to another person or to another entity. It does not go into the government. It has nothing to do with local government. Has nothing to do with all your bills paid up, because there is no local government bills. That's crap. Because we said no, you can't have it. No means no. The two most simple words in the English dictionary. Yes, and you can't have it. No, and you can't. No, you can't continue it. No, you can't empower them. No, you can't establishment. That's what the law says. Our law, our constitution, and the common law says your liars are going to hell. Isn't that nice? Stop lying. You know where you're going. Now, you have a lovely day, because I am having one. When I get to tell people like you you're wrong, because you are. Not because I hate you, I don't. I don't hate anybody. I forgive you for your nonsense, but you're going to pay the penalty for what you're doing. Understand it's going to come back and bite you. When it does, you're going to lose every single thing you have. You think that this idiot in the WEF who says you're going to have nothing, you're going to own nothing, and you're going to be abundantly happy. Isn't that marvellous? How? How can you do that? You're lying. So have a nice day.